Hi, Tim Millard here, host of the Extras podcast, and recently George Feltenstein was on the podcast to talk about the brand new Looney Tunes Collector's Vault Volume 1 announcement and to let us know what's going to be on that release and what you can expect, and to give a little background on why the Collector's Choice volumes came to an end and they are now starting the Collector's Vault. Here's what he had to say.
The timing was just because, frankly, we had just gotten the key art all locked in. So it was a kind of a preview of what's to come. We obviously have not announced the 50 cartoons that will be in the collection, but I wanted people to know what was coming and what was the plan and kind of explain it. I would say toward the end of last year, Jerry and I were tossing ideas about, and Collector's Choice was clearly very welcomed by the fan community and the ardent animation enthusiasts because it was providing beautiful representations of each of these animated shorts that had not been on DVD or Blu-ray in a remastered form. And I always say that because, as I've discussed here previously, subpar masters were added to certain collections as extra material, which was very confusing to the consumer and therefore made people believe that something had been released, where, to my mind, and that's why I tried to get it stopped, was that, taking a 25, 30-year-old master of a cartoon as a bonus doesn't do us any favors, and it really confuses everyone. So that's why I always say remastered, because any of the cartoons that were included in the Golden Collection in the DVD era were remastered as main cartoons in those collections. And the same goes for the Platinum collections. And I think it's important to take a little trip down memory lane. I think I've talked about this before with you, but the strategy for Looney Tunes on DVD was a huge battle that went on for, I'm going to say 6 years, because it was just at the time I had moved from MGMUA to Warner Brothers that the DVD format began. And naturally, the thought was, well, we need to do Looney Tunes. And at the very beginning, I wasn't picturing them. I didn't know how DVDs were going to be packaged right before the launch. And I thought they'd be in jewel cases like CDs. And I was just picturing, like all the cartoons in various, because that's what a lot of people want. They want all 1,000 of the cartoons. They want them right now. And I get it. But the bigger problem we had, those of us, including Jerry, being not an employee of Warner Brothers, but certainly an honorary employee and a supporter and a fan and a collaborator and a contributor and a consultant. And because Jerry and I had worked together on the Laserdisc compilations and whatnot. And he had also done some work for Warner before I got here in the video cassette land. So we wanted to take the best approach and make these releases for the adult collector. At the same time, these were being marketed by the family team, and they wanted to have something to put in Walmart for the moms and kids. So we came up with a 2-tier strategy. The Golden Collections were meant for the adult collector. We thought there'd be 10 of them, but sales continued to deteriorate to the point where we got to the 6th one. It didn't make sense to continue to the financial colleagues. They couldn't support that. And at that time, Blu-ray was just starting, and so there was a look to, well, what do we do on Blu-ray? And my involvement on the Platinum collections was peripheral, because that was a really difficult thing to balance. You needed new, never before available animated shorts, but you also couldn't leave out the things people were dying to see in high definition. It reminds me of when we did the Golden Collection, Volume 1, we left off two incredibly iconic Warner Brothers cartoons. And we did so because to have all the very best in Volume 1 didn't make sense, because you needed to have some kind of big magnet for future volumes. People should really think of the collector's vault, the first disc that has 25 cartoons that have been remastered, that have never been on DVD or Blu-ray. That's essentially what would have been Looney Tunes Collector's Choice Volume 5. But we wanted to diversify the offering going forward and offer more cartoons. So we came up with the idea that we would have a 25 animated short collection be disc number 1. And for a modest increase in price, very modest, giving the consumer more of a value proposition, we would have 25 cartoons which have never been part of any prior collection on Blu-ray. First time in high definition in a collection of Looney Tunes. So there are so many incredibly great cartoons that have been limited to DVD only in the past. This gave us an opportunity to really raise the value, up the ante, make a release that's more exciting, and we're giving double the amount of cartoons, but not double the price. So it's going to be, I think, when people see the list of what we have planned, they'll be very, very excited and very enthusiastic, I hope. And
They will, George. They will.
as with other collections, we're assuming there will be a volume 2 and a volume 3. And if consumers respond to this and are supportive of it from the beginning, that will, if they're supportive from the beginning, that will mean that there will be another release, at least one additional release in 2025 and more thereafter. And I think the overall response we had and have continued to have for the Collector's Choice, volumes 1 through 4, I think we're building on that, offering more, and there'll be a diversification of the characters, more characters that you didn't see. Like, people were really upset there was no Pepe Le Pew in Collector's Choice, volumes 1 through 4. I'm very happy to say Pepe has not been canceled, which people thought was the case. Speedy Gonzales has not been canceled. All the characters will be represented with a lot of quality, given that we're upgrading cartoons that were only available on DVD to high definition. And yes, you may have seen some of these things in high definition on television, but if you did, they were so compressed. Also, some of the older high definition masters were not addressing film damage and dirt and proper color correction the way you will see on the second disc of the Collector's Vault. So there's going to be a lot of fine tuning going on so that the presentation will be of really, I hope people will respond and be impressed by the stellar quality of each of the animated shorts in that collection. So that explains what our theory was, what our intention was, because it was concerning to me that while we were going through and finding the cartoons that had not been made available at all, not including what was on Laserdisc, because for the pre-48 Merry Melodies and the pre-48 color Looney Tunes, those had been on Laserdisc. Obviously, Laserdisc is not a viable format anymore, although I do have about 1,000 of them at home and I still use my player. But we need to be in the 21st century. And it's been a long time. A lot of really, really terrific films are going to be in this new collection and looking amazing. And I think people will really be impressed. We're addressing picture issues as well as audio quality. Some of the cartoons, don't have great audio tracks because of, let's say, the picture has been maintained impeccably, but the audio track, which is stored separately, might be 2 or 3 generations away. We're trying to find better audio tracks. So there's an intention going on to make this a really stellar 2-disc presentation. And I hope the fans will be very happy. I kind of think that sums up my explanation of where our head was at in coming up with Collector's Vault. A lot of people were saying, why did they just call it Collector's Choice Volume 5? Well, this is more than that. Right. And we want to build on that. Right. And we want people to really enjoy what we're doing.
Well, hey, it's great to always hear from George. That's probably the only announcement that you're going to have, only clarification you're going to get of what this new Vault series is all about. And you heard it right here on the extras. If you aren't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, I hope you'll do that. Support the work that George is doing, that Jerry Beck is doing, that the Warner Archive is doing, releasing all of these Blu-rays. And support our channel if you can, so that we can continue to bring these to you, so that you can hear the latest directly from George, from Jerry, not from somebody else who doesn't know, but from these guys who know what went into putting these together. So if you're enjoying that and enjoying hearing from them directly, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let the word out that the extras here is where you get that information. And as always, I thank George for coming on. It's a privilege to have him come on our channel to share this news with you. Until next time, this is Tim Millard. Thanks for watching.